Right now, I'm pleased to be joined by a Blue Rodeo co-frontperson, co-songwriter, Jim Cuddy. How are you?
I'm very good, Tom. It's nice to see you.
It's nice to see you. It's nice to see anybody, but it's especially nice to see you. How's it been going? You, of all people, you and I have spent so much time talking about your love of the road in Canada. How have you been adjusting to this?
Well, you can appreciate that this happened for me. I was packed and at the door and waiting for the cab when the Junos were canceled. So 6 o'clock in the morning, the Thursday, on my way to continue my life for as long as it would go. And that was the beginning of the end. So I've been, my family kind of scattered. We have a little farm that's north of the city. And so I was up there. I thought for a month, I thought for 2 months, it's been 3 months. I come back to the city occasionally, like I am now, to do. There have started to crop up some recordings. I was doing the kitchen party ones for a while from the farm, but internet's pretty sketchy up there. So anything that my wife and I have to do internet-wise, we come back to our house in the city. But generally, been up there for 3 months, and it's been fine.
This is the longest you've been off the road, I'm guessing?
Oh, in 40 years. I mean, the longest I haven't worked in 35 or 40 years. Absolutely.
How do you handle that?
Well, it's been an adjustment, but maybe it's been a good adjustment for me. And I'm not trying to make this sound positive, but to have stopped for a while, to see a whole season change in one place. You know, my wife and I are fascinated by the seasonal change. We've had a robin's nest that we could watch for half an hour at a time every day. We've never had that opportunity. We've never seen all the different flowers come in. So there's a certain kind of personal reckoning of, do I really need to be doing all these things? Certainly I miss the work and I miss the people, but I don't miss all the consumption and I don't miss necessarily all the travel.
That's an interesting thing. You know, I'm often wondering how we're going to be changed coming out of this and whether our relationship with work will be different out of this. You know, and I like to believe that we work because we like to, but I'm also of the belief that perhaps we work because of something deeper or because we feel like we have to. It's interesting to hear you have this reflection.
Yeah, I mean, I think that we definitely create a certain amount of our personal value from our work, and that's great. And if my work was completely cut off, I would definitely be crushed. But there are ways of doing it live. I think that it's been really interesting to learn about streaming and about virtual performance and about how to play with other people. And it's a valuable, it's a new skill. It's a new tool. And so I find that very rewarding. Now, recently, I've been able to play with Colin and Anne came up to the farm. So people that have been isolating are gradually starting to get together, and obviously that's better. And it's a funny part of my world that in order to play, I have to travel. And of course, in order to play, I have to be able to have a gathering. So that's not going to happen for a while, but that I have to travel. So my body is thankful that it's not moving around all the time.
I know, you look great.
It's all makeup. I just have city makeup.
You know,
No, there's no doubt. People see me and they say, "Oh man, you look so relaxed." I say, "Yeah, I haven't done anything. Every day is the same. It is a lovely Groundhog Day, but it's Groundhog Day."
You haven't spent this much time with your wife in 35 years. It's incredible. It's good for you.
Oh, we're lucky we do. But we also understand our boundaries. We cross paths a little bit. She comes back to the city. You know, I am an incessant whistler, like an incessant whistler.
Really?
And that drives her crazy. After about 3 days, she's like, "I'm going to the city for a day to do the following things and to not hear you whistle."
She's just sitting in her room going, "God, I wish he was in Winnipeg right now." You know, playing the Burton Cummings Theater.
We've discussed it. We've discussed it.
Speaking of gigs, I was, saddened that their annual gig, the big Molson Amphitheater, end of the summer, kind of big Blue Rodeo show that's become sort of just a part of life in Toronto isn't going ahead either. I can imagine that's hard for you too.
Well, the whole thing's hard. I mean, that was always the culmination of our summer, and that was always great because I don't know, the last couple of years have been such a celebration. And the band is always so focused on that gig, but there were lots of gigs that we were going to do that we lost, and they're all sad, and they're all we have an amazing 2021 booked. It's going to be great, but Ottawa Blues Fest. We were going to go back. I was going to play the Queen's Plate. Haven't done that before. So it's the first summer I've taken off, and I don't know, since the band started, for sure.
Have you been writing?
I've been writing a lot. So that's a really good thing, because in order to write, usually I have to carve out time anyway, and I go to the studio and I work. If I go to the farm, I go, periodically, but now I have every day, and I'm often up there alone. And that's, honestly, it's the best formula for writing, because I can pick up the guitar at any time of the day or night. So I've gotten a lot written, yeah.
It must have been meaningful to see the Blue Rodeo song "Lost Together" mean so much during this pandemic. You did a very kind of supersized version of the song. Hundreds of Canadians sang along for CBC Music's Great Canadian Sing Along. That must have been meaningful, that a song from your band can mean so much to Canadians at a time like this.
That was very moving. I thought, I think that one of the things is you play for people and you see their enjoyment, and that's usually as far as it goes. But if you see them using your song in their setting, which is basically what that was, people just singing in their own kitchens and backyards, and it's very emotional, that it becomes a part of their life and becomes something that's meaningful to them. So I found the whole thing, and kudos to the CBC for executing it, because that was their plan, and I just thought it was very beautiful, and anything that is a little bit of an emblem to our togetherness now is a positive, constructive thing.
Do me a favor, a bit of a thought experiment here. When you picture the thing you want to do most when this pandemic is over, what do you see? Like, where are you?
Well, it's going to be small, but our daughter and her boyfriend has had some respiratory problems, so we have not been able to get together with her for all of this time. I saw her yesterday. We walked to a park, but as of Friday, or as of the 10 people gathering, she is now allowing us to, so we are going to have a little solstice party in the backyard here in the city. And that is something I'm extremely looking forward to. Tom, everything else that I would be looking forward to would out me as a gross consumer. So I can't do that.
Can't wait to go to Costco and pick up a few pallets. I understand.
Yeah, they'd all be rich food and wine and, overindulgence. I don't need that.
We asked you to do a version of "Till I Am Myself Again," one of your best known songs and one of your greatest songs. Casino came out, the record that song Casino came out in 1990, I believe.
Yeah.
So that's 30 years?
That's the way we add in Ontario.
Yeah, I know in Newfoundland we still use Roman numerals and the abacus, so I have to try and figure that one out. I hear you.
You're always transcribing. So yeah, 30 years ago, yeah.
Well, I would love some context on this song. What do you remember about writing it? Where were you? What were you thinking about?
Oh, I wrote it in the studio, and I was writing it about a friend, a close friend, that was pretty much in the grip of addiction. Mostly booze, but obviously there's all other things that are always added into that. And I've subsequently, and that person knows it's about them, and I've subsequently talked to them, and they're better, and they're most transparent person I've ever encountered about alcohol addiction. I've learned so much from that person's experience. So it was just this, the nature of alcohol addiction is to hide most of your drinking. Anybody that has a friend that seems to fall apart quicker than everybody else, it's because they've been drinking all day. And, it's just simple. So I wrote that song for that. And it was sort of one of the first songs I wrote with a very specific intention. And it seems to still be pertinent. It
is interesting, and pertinent is a good word for it, because it's interesting that a song that can be so specific and so personal can become so universal to a lot of people,
I think that everybody can feel whether they're being dragged down by something horrendous, or whether is there a better time to feel beside yourself instead of in your proper place than now? People have to struggle with with everything they've had to struggle with. Either they have to struggle with illness, which is terrible, or they have to struggle with feeling worthless because they're not doing what their job is, or they're not seeing anybody, they're not seeing their family, worried about their elders. So it does seem to be applicable to the times too.
Well, Jim, it's been lovely to talk to you. I can't wait to hear it. Nice to see you.
Yeah, I did also mention you made me do that song in 3 minutes, and I thought, how can I do it in 3 minutes? It's like 4.5 minutes, and I did it with my son Devin, and we did it in under 3 minutes. I was so impressed.
See, if you had brought me in 30 years ago, that record would have done even better. I would have cut everything right down.
Damn.
Yeah, things didn't work out at all.
You'd have been so young, though.
Yeah, I would have been. Devin and I think we're the same age, so I think two of us would have been. Yeah.
Would have been hard to take instructions from a 3-year-old. But thanks for the offer.
Nice to see you, Jim.
You too. Take care, Tom.